My husband died in Canada, and before I even buried him, everything turned into chaos.
You killed him just so you can take everything he worked for!
What? I would never do that!
It's gone, and we know you were the last person who saw it.
Before his funeral even started, his own brothers were already fighting over his cars, houses, and bank accounts. At 2 a.m., I escaped with my 3 children through the back fence while men waited outside to take everything we owned. My son stood in court crying, "Why is my family trying to steal my father's life from me?" The judge slammed his gavel and said, "Enough. What I see here is not tradition, it is greed." They thought his death would break me. Instead, it made me stronger than ever. I grew up in a poor village covered in red dust. When I met Kevin, he had big dreams but almost nothing in his pocket. He told me, "One day I'll take you abroad and we'll build a better life." I laughed at first, but Kevin worked hard for that dream. We ate 1 meal a day just to save money for visas. When we finally moved to Canada, the cold nearly broke me. But Kevin held my hands and said, "We came here to win." And we did. For 12 years we built a beautiful life together. Kevin became the head of his family after his father died at 19. Even while we struggled in Canada, his family kept calling for money. "Peter needs a motorbike. Your sister's school fees have increased. We want to organize a family celebration." Sometimes we barely had enough for rent and food, but Kevin always sent money. "They're my family," he would say. I agreed every time. I didn't know we were helping the same people who would later turn against us. As we became successful, the family stopped appreciating us. One Christmas, Kevin bought me a gold necklace for our anniversary. Instead of complimenting it, his mother said, "So you can buy gold for your wife, but you only sent me a lace wrapper?" I stayed quiet to keep peace. But I noticed the jealousy in Kevin's brothers. They watched his clothes, his watch, his confidence. They no longer saw a brother. They saw money. And instead of trying to succeed like him, they wanted to pull him down. The morning of the accident, Kevin kissed the children before leaving. "I'll bring you a treat when I come back," he told our daughter. Then he hugged me in the kitchen. "If today's meeting goes well, we're buying that plaza downtown," he said excitedly. "No more renting. We'll own it." "Drive safely," I warned him. He laughed. A little ice can't stop a village boy. Then he grabbed his keys and walked out the door. I stood at the window and watched his car disappear. I didn't know I was seeing him for the last time. 2 hours later, I received a call from the doctor. "Hello, are you Mrs. Kevin?" "Yes." "Your presence is urgently needed at the hospital." I dropped everything, grabbed my car keys, and rushed out immediately. The doctor pointed me toward the room. I opened the door and saw Kevin lying on the bed with a white sheet covering his face. My hand shook as I pulled it down. He looked peaceful. Just one small scratch on his forehead. I touched his cheek. Cold. That was when I screamed. In that moment, my world ended. When I got home, I called Kevin's eldest brother. "Peter, Kevin is dead." I expected tears. Instead, he asked, "What about the business? Did he sign the plaza papers? And the SUV, was it damaged?" I froze. My husband was lying in a morgue, and his brother only cared about property and cars. That was when I realized Kevin was never family to them. He was money. We traveled back to the village for the burial with our 3 children. My youngest daughter kept asking, "When is Daddy coming back?" Every question broke me. The moment we arrived, Kevin's brothers stared at my suitcases instead of my face. They looked more interested in wealth than grief. Their mother sat in the yard wearing black clothes without a single tear. "Sophia," she said coldly, "I hope you brought the bank tokens and house keys. A widow shouldn't handle such things." I knew then that war had started. The whole village came to mourn Kevin. Widows cried for the man who paid their children's school fees. Young men wept for the man who gave them jobs. But Kevin's brothers were busy dividing his property. "I'm taking the building in Onitsha," Mike whispered. Peter insisted that, as the eldest, the plaza in town belonged to him. They were sharing his wealth before he was even buried. I held my children close and whispered, "Look at the sky. Your father is there now." After the funeral, Peter walked into the kitchen and grabbed the car keys. "I'm taking the Toyota," he said. "Peter, I need that car for the children tomorrow," I replied. "You're a widow," he snapped. "Widows stay indoors. Besides, the car belongs to the family now." He took the keys and drove off. Then the other brothers came. By midnight, every car in the garage was gone. I sat alone in the dark holding Kevin's photograph, realizing the people I called family were my greatest enemies. The morning after the cars disappeared, the village became cold toward us. Neighbors avoided my house. Nobody brought food. Nobody said sorry. I tried making breakfast, but there was no gas. While struggling to light firewood outside, Kevin's sister stood at the window watching me without offering help. "Mommy, why is everyone treating us badly?" my daughter asked. I had no answer. That was when I realized losing my husband also meant losing protection. Later that afternoon, Liam, one of the boys Kevin sponsored through school, came to my gate looking frightened. "Auntie Sophia," he whispered, "the elders have called a meeting at the town hall. Your in-laws are accusing you." My heart dropped. "What are they saying?" He lowered his voice. They're saying Kevin's death was suspicious. They're saying only you know what truly happened in Canada. Fear ran through my body. They didn't just want Kevin's property. They wanted to destroy me too. Without a car, I walked to the town hall with my children. As we passed through the market, people whispered behind my back. She looks too calm for a widow. I heard she didn't cry enough. I ignored them and held my son's hand tightly. Keep your head high, I told him. You are Kevin's son. Inside the town hall, the elders sat in a circle. In the middle stood one wooden stool. The widow's stool. Peter stood before the elders and pointed at me. Our brother was healthy, he said loudly. Then suddenly he dies in Canada. This woman controlled him and kept him away from his family. Now that the businesses are successful, Kevin is gone. Is that a coincidence? Then he accused me directly. The person who benefits most from a death is often the one behind it. The entire hall went silent. Then Kevin's mother stood up and threw her head wrap on the floor. My son is dead, she cried. Before Kevin married Sophia, he was strong. After marriage, she changed him with her foreign ways. I saw it in a vision. She brought darkness into this family. She pointed at me with hatred in her eyes. She killed my son to take his wealth. Her words hit harder than a knife. The head elder looked at me. Sophia, what do you have to say? I stood up slowly. I am not a stranger, I said firmly. I suffered beside Kevin when we had nothing. I worked beside him for 12 years. If I wanted money, why would I struggle with him from the beginning? Then I pointed at my children. These are Kevin's children. His blood. Will you punish them too? For a moment the elders looked ashamed. But Peter quickly interrupted. Enough. She must hand over all property documents, bank details, and keys today. If not, she will be banished from this village before nightfall. After the meeting, the compound felt dangerous. Kevin's brothers placed men outside the gate, waiting to seize my documents and property by morning. I sat in darkness with my children. Mommy, are we safe? Kevin Jr. whispered. Yes, I told him quietly. But we have to leave tonight. I packed our passports, marriage certificate, police reports, and the little cash I had hidden away. I knew if we stayed we would lose everything. At 2 a.m. the guards outside finally fell asleep. I led my children through a hole in the back fence and into the bush. We walked for miles in silence. My youngest grew tired, so I carried her on my back while holding the others by the hand. Finally, a night bus appeared on the road. Please, I begged the driver. Take us to the city. As the bus pulled away, I looked back at the village. I'm leaving as a widow, I whispered, but I'll return as a warrior. When we reached the city, I rented a hotel and my children and I stayed there for a while. I visited law offices searching for help, but most lawyers turned me away. Family land cases take forever, one said. Go and settle with your in-laws. I almost gave up. Then one afternoon, a man in a black suit stopped beside me while I sat outside with my children. My name is Barrister Williams, he said. Tell me what happened. For hours, Barrister Williams listened to my story. I showed him the documents, photos of the stolen cars, and police reports. After reading everything, his expression hardened. Your in-laws committed crimes, he said. Theft is not tradition. False accusations are not tradition. Then he leaned forward. We're taking them to court. We'll recover every property they stole. For the first time since Kevin died, I felt hope. Back in the village, Kevin's brothers celebrated like kings. Peter drove Kevin's SUV around town, spending money carelessly. The widow ran away because she's guilty, he told everyone. Then the court bailiff arrived with police officers. Peter Okafor? The bailiff asked. Yes, I'm the head of this family. You and your brothers are ordered to appear in high court on Monday. And if you touch any property in this house again, you'll be arrested immediately. Peter's glass slipped from his hand and shattered. Their celebration ended instantly. Monday morning, I walked into court wearing black. Kevin's mother arrived with village women singing songs against me. His brothers came dressed in expensive lace outfits, looking confident. But everything changed when the judge entered. He looked at nobody's clothes. Only the law. This court is now in session, he announced. The case of Sophia Okafor versus the estate of Kevin Okafor begins today. The courtroom fell silent as Peter stood before the judge. My lord, he said, pretending to be emotional, we only took the cars to protect our brother's property. Barrister Williams stood up calmly. If you were protecting the children, he asked, how many times did you feed them? How much school fees have you paid? Peter froze. Then Williams exposed him. You were seen spending stolen money at clubs while Kevin's children suffered. You are not protecting this family. You are stealing from it. Kevin's mother entered the witness stand crying loudly. She killed my son, she shouted. Canada destroyed him. The judge looked at her coldly. Do you have medical proof? Police evidence? Or only village gossip? Then Barrister Williams presented the official autopsy report, police documents, and accident evidence from Canada. Instantly their accusations collapsed. Then my 12-year-old son raised his hand. My lord, can I speak? The judge agreed. Kevin Jr. stood up bravely. My uncle told me I no longer belong in my father's house, he said. But my father called me a king. Why are they trying to turn me into a beggar? The courtroom became emotional. Even the women supporting my in-laws started crying. For the first time, Peter lowered his head in shame. The judge didn't delay his decision. I have seen this wickedness for years, he said. Lazy relatives waiting for a successful man to die so they can steal everything. Then he struck the gavel. Sophia and her children are the rightful owners of all assets. Every vehicle must be returned immediately. Every stolen payment must be refunded within 48 hours, or the police will arrest all involved. The courtroom exploded with shock. Justice had finally spoken. I walked out of the courtroom with my children beside me. Peter tried to approach us, but the police blocked him. When we returned to the mansion, I unlocked the gate myself and stood in the middle of the compound. Kevin, I whispered, looking at the sky, your children are safe now. We didn't stay in the village. The memories were too painful. I sold some properties and returned to Canada with my children. As the plane lifted into the clouds, I realized something important. Home is not land. Home is where you are loved and protected. Today, I manage the plaza Kevin dreamed about. Sometimes Peter calls begging for help. Sometimes his mother calls asking for medicine money. I still help her a little. Not because I forgot the pain, but because I refuse to become bitter. To every woman listening, never believe anyone who calls you weak because you are a wife. Stand up. Fight for your children. Fight for your future. Every year we visit a small park in Canada where a bench bears Kevin's name. Kevin, the pillar of our lives. Never forgotten. We sit there, eat his favorite food, laugh about his terrible dancing, and remember the man we loved. My name is Sophia. I am a widow. But I am also a survivor, a businesswoman, and a mother raising kings. My story did not end with death. That was where my new life began. Thank you so much for journeying through this tale with me. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this wisdom, and subscribe to join our growing family of storytellers. Your support truly means everything. I'd love to hear from you. Which part of the story resonated with you most? And let me know which part of the world you're watching from. I read every comment and they truly keep me going. See you in the next story. I love you all. God bless you. Bye.